Alrighty. So on today's show, I'm going to talk about Denver, and I'm going to save a video on the New York Giants for tomorrow. This Denver video will probably be 8 minutes in length, and then I'm going to likely get to some college football recruiting. So again, stay tuned on Slaughterhouse for those news. I'm Spencer G from Slaughterhouse. There's a lot in the NFL, but really the two teams that I kind of love in the NFL, really the Steelers and the Broncos are two teams that I think really play the game from a defensive perspective. Their offense is kind of, it's easy to understand and wrap your brain around what is going on. It is fun to see a team of young players and a coach in his second year, like take the progression, take a linear step. And I think that Denver's fun too, because sometimes you could just have an all-world talent and star, like one person, like a Lamar Jackson, a Josh Allen, and then the program is built up by a great offensive quarterback, and the whole team is kind of built up. But and the whole team that is even very flawed is built up. But Denver, to me, is like a fun team if you're like an NFL junkie because, you know, you have your Ravens, your Eagles, your Kansas City Chiefs, but then you kind of have your second tier that I think is like more fun to kind of analyze, like who is going to be in that second tier. It's kind of like the ACC and the Big 12 in college football. And like a game like Denver and Oakland is a game at 4 o'clock on the West Coast. It's not going to be in the 4:30 prime slot, the way the Green Bay Packers are put on there, or the way that the Ravens are put on there with Cincinnati, or the Ravens and the Chargers, for example. So the game is just right at 4 o'clock. And it really was like a game that I think that you had to be just like watch a lot of like football to kind of appreciate and kind of get like a background in how complex, it's not complex, but how like monumental this game was for the Denver Broncos. And I saw a team play with a certain maturity, Denver. And this can all proven to be dumb as dumb can be if Denver goes out there and loses to the Colts or whatever. But the thing I loved about Denver is Denver came out with like their C- kind of game. The lines of scrimmages were getting blown up. North Turner and Scott Turner, the father-son tandem, was going out there and schooling like Vance, like they were getting guys like Jacoby Myers wide open down the field. Gardner Minshew in the first half was having his way with Denver. But Denver, even though like they weren't throwing their best stuff, you know what the analogy is like? It's like, I'll give a couple of sports analogies since I play a lot of sports, and frankly, a lot of people say I'm too sports-centric, have to diversify in terms of hobbies and things that I like to do. But we talk about sports, it's like a pitcher in baseball is a good starting pitcher, and he has nasty curveballs, and your lineup just, instead of being able to hit the pitcher, this is a starting pitcher that goes 4 or 5 innings, but goes 4 innings, but by the 5th or 6th inning, that is the time when you can jump on the pitcher and get some hanging curveballs. But it starts out so hot. So the Raiders start out so hot, but Denver, they're like, damn, Max Crosby, this team's playing so inspired, like Pierce has them ready to go. You could tell the Raiders had a great week of prep. If you watch like the first half of this game, the intent, like they were dialed. They were playing at like their A game, and Denver was at a C- game. But the way Denver fouled it off in the baseball analogy is that Will Lutz, like they got in the field goal range just enough so that Will Lutz can hit 3 50-yard field goals. Okay? And then when Oakland would go into the red zone, Denver would hold them. And it's a little bend, not break. It's not really pleasing. It's not aesthetically super impressive, but this is a game that Sean Payton, and he illustrated this, he's been around it a while, like Oakland or the Raiders could have really been up like 20-7. Like Bo Nix could have forced an interception. Denver could have easily panicked and be like, damn, this is supposed to be a 2-8 team. We're losing. We're panicking. But no, Will Lutz would kick field goals, and you weathered the storm completely to have like a 10-9 or 13-9 game on your hands in the third quarter. So then, very mature game of like, I had a friend who doesn't watch a lot of Denver or watches the whole NFL who bet on Denver, okay? And this person is, I give that person credit because they could have been freaking out and saying, Denver's not winning. Like, a lot of people might have been freaking out at the half. I totally get it because the Raiders were playing really well. But this Denver team has a way of like easing into the game, easing like a horse, again, we're using another analogy, like a horse race and then charging. And Denver in this game in the third quarter, they charged. Bam. Bo Nix showed off. Like Bo separated from Minshew. Like eventually Denver then, bam, we're at the poker table. We hit our hand. Okay, we hit a great hand, and we're going to charge right now and strike you. And that's what Denver did with the touchdown to Cortland Sutton, back of the end zone. Bam, 16-13. Then Denver goes out there, gets a huge 3-and-out. So then, bam, now we're really unloading our stuff. Okay, and now we're unloading and we're striving, and the Raiders then were running out of gas. Denver then could have went for a kill shot, but no disaster. Takes a 19-13 lead. Then the Raiders put a drive together, but the red zone defense again staves them off, 19-16. Point is, again, Denver is like, they're like in a horse race. Like, they're not panicking. That's what I saw out of this team. That's the growth, is that they're learning how to win. They're learning how to win football games. They're learning how to design teams. They're learning how to play this sport. They're learning how to execute the sport. All right? It's just like if you're playing the game of golf or anything in life, you can panic and make it worse. You can panic and press. Denver did not do that. They did not press in this game. This is somebody, again, I'm a Bo Nix fan, and it's interesting to see like a team like find this maturity. Because the great teams, like if everything's running on great and you're so much better, like maybe you're the Eagles or the Ravens, like the games they're not always like that much fun. Like they're really good. The team is fantastic and explosive. But here, like Denver's like this kid or this, not the most talented team in the world, but like they're learning like little things. And you could see like the toddlers start to walk. You don't have a world-class athlete that you're dealing with. You're dealing with somebody who's learning to walk and find their way. And so then Denver, touchdown. Beautiful drive, I believe. No, they got a turnover. They got a sack fumble, and that's that. Sack fumble, bam, touchdown, Cortland Sutton. Then Ritter ends up coming into the game. Then the defense unloads like everything they have. So it's exactly like a boxer. First couple rounds is but they don't panic. And this easily could have been a panic spot because you're watching the game and you're like, damn, when's Denver going to like kick it in the gear? But those field goals by Will Lutz, and that's the thing, no one will mention Lutz. Like, that's the thing about a field goal kicker. No one will mention how pivotal those 50-yard kicks were. They're huge. And in Kansas City, like, the field goal gets missed. Like, this team could have went into the tank, specifically on special teams. But good teams, like, that's little things, like snapping it well, fading the ball left to right, like hitting those 50-yarders, like getting those points, like having enough offense. Like earlier in the year when the offense was playing its game, its C- game, you'd have 3-and-outs. You wouldn't even pick up a damn first down. But Bo Nix in this game, like, wasn't at his best, but he would still make an occasional third down 15-yard pass to get into Will Lutz range to get points. And that's why maybe the Steelers and Broncos are fun because, yeah, they kick field goals. Like, they do whatever they can to win. You know, you're not watching blowouts. You're not watching a team that is so good that you're watching a team that is very easily to relate to, the Steelers and the Broncos. And they're better than they're better than average a little bit, right? And those teams are fun. Fun to see the growth. Like, look at Detroit. Like, when Detroit beat Green Bay that year not to go to the playoffs, it's like, damn, I see something I really like. And wait until the years after. And then if the years after, like Denver ever goes on to do something special, like playing an AFC championship or win the whole freaking Super Bowl, you'll look back on this, and Bo Nix is the quarterback, and a lot of guys who played in this game in Oakland in the middle of November, like the coaching staff and everybody will be like, damn, those guys matured. Like, you were along for that part of the journey in seeing Denver become this special product. So that's where you could try to find the beauty in the sport, the beauty in the regular season, the beauty of mid-November. That's where you can try to find that. And that's what Denver did against the Raiders.